My name is Alex Purves. I'm Professor of Classics at UCLA, and I work on mostly early Greek poetry. Tell us of the long-winged moon. From her immortal head a radiance is shown from heaven and embraces earth. The way that we envision Selene, the goddess of the moon, in early Greek thought is as this very brilliant, bright goddess clothed in radiant clothing, drawing her source of light from the heavens. What do the Greeks, how do they understand entities that they couldn't actually travel to? And so how did they do the kind of work that something like the Artemis mission is now doing, but more theoretically, or how close or far away were they from certain theories about the moon? The early period of the pre-Socratic philosophers and early Greek thought was that you can interpret knowledge from what you see. And so they saw the moon as an entity that was changing shape and disappearing. When they worked out that the moon actually was stable and was not changing, but that what they were seeing with their eyes was different from what was actually happening, it became a kind of important moment in early Greek thought that the moon was one of the first entities to really kind of draw to the Greeks' attention. When you look at the moon, what you see might not be what actually is. Philosophers and scientists in the early 6th and 5th century were trying to move away from this idea of the moon as a goddess or as a kind of a creature and think of it as a physical entity. First of all, they thought of the moon as a kind of combination of fire and air being compressed together, creating kind of brightness. And they started to imagine that the moon could be made out of a kind of earth-like substance and had valleys and plateaus and mountains. At that point, they started to think of the moon as a kind of mirror or reflection of the earth, and they started to play around in lots of interesting ways. They would tell stories about characters falling from the moon down to the earth, and other stories about characters traveling to the earth. There's ways in which the whole nature of investigation and scientific research in the 5th century relates in ways to the kind of questions that are still being asked about the moon. What kind of life is out there? What is its relationship to our life? The ancient world was asking questions about the moon and answering those questions that are still being asked and answered now. And so I would say that there was a way in which, yes, they answered certain early questions, but they also prompted those questions to keep being asked, especially kind of scientific and philosophical questions about the moon, prompting us to think up those answers and to keep questioning and re-questioning. The rosy-fingered moon surpasses all the stars, and her light stretches over salt sea, equally, and flower-deep fields.